has an aggressive and modern look, a slipper clutch, disc brakes on both wheels, a fully digital dashboard, 21 horsepower, and a suggested price of 12,790 Rs. She is the Part 200. I'm Amanda Pagliari, and welcome to Brazil's most charming motorcycle channel. Every week, a new video about motorcycles. So, if you love motorcycles, go ahead and click the subscribe button and the bell next to it to be notified when a new video comes out. This video showcases the technical specs, insurance cost, fuel efficiency, and target audience of a new vehicle. And the pros and cons of the Apache 200 Beautiful, that's the first word that comes to my mind. When I look at this motorcycle, the look is super aggressive, and the finish at first glance, I thought it was great for the price and for what it's meant to be. Everything about it reminds you of sportiness. The clip-on handlebars, I found them really beautiful. By the way, a fun fact, you can lock it on both sides. Left side and here on the right side. So this makes it easier when you're maneuvering. I really like this design here in the middle of her tank with Race Edition written on it. The fuel cap look is positioned more to the right. It's also really pretty. The split seat isn't ideal for the passenger, but enhances the car's sporty feel. The finish on the spoiler there, I thought it was divine. It made her look more robust. She comes with a center stand. The exhaust tip, I found it very decent. Very beautiful, by the way. And back here, you can remove the fender if you want. And this little horse here on the tank is not the Ferrari symbol. It's the symbol of Thirukurungudi Vengaram Sundaram, which is the third largest motorcycle manufacturer in India. Despite being a top 10 global manufacturer, many people question the quality of the company's products. Nobody knows this manufacturer, just so you have an idea. Thirukurungudi Vengaram Sundaram, in partnership with BMW, made the 310 line. That's right, both the G and the R are manufactured in partnership between BMW and Thirukurungudi Vengaram Sundaram, of course, under the supervision of the German manufacturer. I believe that if Thirukurungudi Vengaram Sundaram didn't have quality, BMW wouldn't have chosen them as their partner. That's why I think we can trust the engine and the mechanical set of this motorcycle. Remember that it is assembled here in Brazil. DAFRA brings the parts from Thirukurungudi Vengaram Sundaram abroad and assembles them here in its factory in Manaus. The engine has air cooling, Bosch electronic injection, and according to DAFRA, it was adapted for Brazilian gasoline. 17-inch alloy wheels, tubeless tires, disc brakes on both wheels with a combined system. That means when you use only the rear brake, it also affects the front one. By law, motorcycles under 300cc must have ABS or combined braking systems. There's no way around this requirement. To learn more, watch my detailed video by clicking the card or the link in the description. And the front suspension comes with a telescopic fork, and here at the rear, it's monoshock with 7 levels of adjustment. And the dashboard is 100% digital. I'll show you. It's really nice. You change the information here on the left side, and on the right side you reset it. So it comes with a gear indicator, clock, and fuel gauge. Here is the digital speedometer and also a digital tachometer. On the side you have 2 trip odometers, and here is a stopwatch that you can activate whenever you want. To reset the information, you press here and it resets. It doesn't have a lot of features, so to speak, but it's more to bring that sporty feel, right? Here is the highest speed reached, which is the high speed. So I wasn't the one who reached this speed. The person who had it before reached a top speed of 123 kilometers per hour. However, it can go beyond that. Here there's some information that I found to be the most useless of all. This one shows what was the shortest time until you reach the 60 kilometers per hour limit. I don't know why you would need this information, but it provides it. And here, there are other details like the total odometer. It also tells you when it's time to do maintenance checks. It's not showing here, but there is a reserve light. And the coolest thing is that here, the shift light is used in racing motorcycles to show the rider the right moment to change gears. In everyday use, it helps you know the right moment to shift gears to save fuel. From the factory, it's already set up for you to shift at 7,000 revolutions per minute. but you can adjust it to your liking in increments of 1,000. Now I'm going to talk about the Apache's lighting system. It already comes with LED position lights. Its headlight uses a bulb just like the turn signals. The tail light is LED. Check out the high beam. I thought it was really good. I think it lights up well. And who is it for? Well, in my opinion, it's a motorcycle that can definitely be used by those who are just starting out in the world of two wheels. It's also for that person who is looking for sportiness. It's made for urban use. In other words, for everyday riding. It's not a motorcycle for traveling. It doesn't mean you can't take it on the road, but its purpose is urban, for riding on asphalt in large urban centers, and especially for that person who likes something different, who wants to stand out from the crowd. There are a lot of similar bikes out there, like the Honda and Yamaha lines, that dominate the market. So someone who rides a bike like this is going to attract attention. And here, Vitor and Wesley asked about the competitors, where it fits in. If it's more of a competitor to the Phaser 150, the Cargo Grande Titan, or the Twister, and also the Phaser 250, in terms of horsepower, yes. I think it competes with the Twister and the Phaser, which are in the range of a little over 20 horsepower. But when it comes to price, it competes more with the Cargo Grande Titan and also the Phaser 150. Tiago, my impression is that this engine is more comparable to the 160 and also to the 150 from Yamaha. But that doesn't mean it's an inferior product. Actually, as I said, the horsepower is closer to the 250 line. Compared to the 160, the torque is not as strong, right, when you take off at the light. So you feel the engine is a little weak. That doesn't mean it's a bad engine. I really like the engine. I see a lot of people online directly comparing the Apache 200 with the Twister and the FZ25, but we can't forget that to compete with those motorcycles, Dafra has the next 300, which is a superior motorcycle. But in short, for me, it's above the Cargo Grande 160, the Phaser 150, and it could even compete with the Twister and also the FZ25. I think this motorcycle has everything it takes to rock the Brazilian market. But enough talking. Now you're going to see my impressions in São Paulo traffic.
Hop on my back seat.
What I can say after these 7 days of testing the Apache is that it's a really nice motorcycle to ride. It's a motorcycle with really good handling, very urban, very agile. But I think what surprised me the most was the engine. Wow, the engine is really nice, not just the sound. Take a look, listen to the sound of this engine for a bit here. It's really amazing. But it's not just the sound, I think it vibrates. It doesn't vibrate much. For a single cylinder with 5 gears, I'm barely feeling any vibration. Here on the handlebar on my feet, it's pretty much minimal. The vibration on my feet. And of course for the road, that's not so comfortable, right? But for urban use, I thought it was great. I found the riding position to be very good. Like the position of the arms, the foot pegs, of course keeping in mind that it has a sporty feel, a naked feel, let's say. So it's not meant to be a super comfortable motorcycle. It's for those who are looking specifically for sportiness. Now, for everyday riding, work, home, college, commuting, I thought it was fine. Is the seat a bit hard? Yes, but I don't know. If you were going to spend a lot of time with it, for example, If you were going to work with it, like as a motorcycle courier, for example, then I think it would be a problem. Because you would spend a lot of time on it. Since it's dark now, let me take a break here. Let me take this chance to show the shift light. The little light I mentioned, look, it turned on at 7,000 revolutions per minute again. 7,000 revolutions per minute indicates it's time to shift gears. The horn? No, seriously guys, the horn is another thing I need to talk about. Look at this. It sounds like a car horn. The first time I honked it, it startled me too. I even feel a bit awkward honking because it's so loud, this
horn, right?
But that's how it must be. It needs to let people know I'm coming through. Look, changing direction is really easy. I don't know if you can hear the sound of the brakes. The brakes are bothering me, okay? But I'll talk more about it in the negative points. It makes a noise, you know? It seems like it's missing oil, like a gear lacking lubrication. A very interesting little noise. For her category, like, she actually offers more than enough. And then she has a slipper clutch, right? Let me show you guys. So basically the slipper clutch, it's in 4th gear. I downshifted to 3rd and the bike didn't lock the wheel. I was already accelerating all the way in 4th. I downshifted to 3rd and the bike didn't lock the wheel. That's really good. You see this slipper clutch technology on the Ninja 300? And on the Ninja 400 and also on the Z400. So it's really cool, really nice to see these little bikes with these technologies. A cute dashboard.
I think we deserve it, right?
For everyday traffic is approved. Now I've driven about 143 kilometers with it. 3 bars here on the gauge. Let's fill it up and I'll tell you the fuel consumption. Driving alone in the city, it averaged 28 kilometers per liter. And if we consider the 12-liter tank, that's a range of over 300 kilometers.
And before I talk about the positive and negative points of the Apache, I'm going to answer Rodolfo's question. Who wants to know if the Apache 200 is targeted for theft?
Well, I made 2 videos with the 10 most stolen motorcycles and it doesn't appear on the list. But also the Apache doesn't have that much volume compared to its competitors. I can't tell you if it's targeted or not, but I can tell you its insurance value. Get a quote there, you won't regret it. Now I'll discuss the pros and cons of the Apache. In my opinion, you have every right to agree, disagree, or even add to it. Using what? The comments on this video. Write your opinion there, but for that, you need to be subscribed to this channel with the notification bell on to be part of this community. Yes, you can comment, like give a thumbs up or down, or react however you want. I'm going to take advantage of this negative point to answer this question. I didn't like the brakes. The bike does brake, of course, but there are 2 things I didn't like about the Apache's brakes, which for me, I think is its main negative point. First, I found the rear brake to be very intrusive on the front brake. So when you press it and the front dips, you feel that the front dips because the brake is interfering. Of course, the combined braking system has this function, but imagine in a turn when you're correcting, you hit the rear brake to correct the motorcycle and that interferes with the front. It can get in the way. So I didn't like it. So the other thing is that I found the front brake to be very spongy. I don't know if it's just this motorcycle or if all Apaches have this problem. By the way, if you have an Apache 200, let me know in the comments what you think about its front brake. I found it very spongy, okay? I don't know why the manufacturers insist on not putting a dawn sensor on the side stand or the kickstand because this affects our safety. I'll show you. I started the motorcycle, it's in neutral. All right. First gear down.
Guys, this is dangerous. I've already forgotten about 3 or 4 times and almost died of fright when I heard the bloom. Wow, artist want to be it. That the kickstand was still down, and what could happen then? Please, let's stop this foolish cost cutting and put a sensor on the motorcycle kickstand. It's very important for safety that the engine cuts off when the kickstand is down to prevent falls. Another thing I didn't like was the mirrors. I'm not even going to talk about the design, since everyone has their own taste, but really it's their width. Since the purpose of this motorcycle is to be urban, for you to ride in the middle of cars, right, to have agility, the mirrors, look, you see? They're wider than the handlebars. I often had to calculate there. The cars were low, making the calculations tall. So there are many different car heights, but I often felt unsafe in the lane riding it. If the side mirror were just a little bit narrower, right, it would definitely make things more agile in that part. Another downside is the passenger seat. So I dare say that if you often have a passenger, maybe this motorcycle isn't for you. Look for a motorcycle that maybe has a single seat. On this one, which has a split seat, there's a lack of comfort for the passenger. Look, see? The seat is really small and also uncomfortable. I did like the handle though, okay? To hold on to, the handle is actually pretty sturdy. But like, if you're going to take long trips or often have a passenger, I think it's going to be uncomfortable. And an important downside that needs to be mentioned, especially if you live far from the big cities, is the small number of DAFRA dealerships. It doesn't have a very wide reach, so for you to get maintenance done or buy parts, it can be a little difficult. So keep that in mind when you're buying your Apache. Those were the negative points, in my opinion. If you have more, write them in the comments. I wanted to highlight the item that I think is missing from this dashboard. I'm not going to say it's a negative point because the dashboard has so much cool information ahead of its competitors that actually I think it was just missing to make the Apache even more competitive, even better. Which is what? Fuel consumption indicator, whether average or instant. So that information was definitely missing. And now I'm going to talk about the positive aspects of the Apache. But look, I have to confess that the motorcycle surprised me more positively than negatively, honestly. And the first positive point is the engine. Guys, this engine is amazing. It's a single cylinder engine. I felt that it vibrates very little from what I could tell. The gear spacing is really good. I think the engine, well, it gave me a lot of confidence. It's an engine that's actually pretty fun. And the sound, guys, the sound, let me tell you, for a little 200cc bike, almost 200 cubic centimeters, I thought the sound was really nice. The original exhaust tip, I thought this exhaust was beautiful. And the engine and exhaust tip together, I thought they made a really nice sound. Another positive point is the fuel efficiency. The Apache is a fuel-efficient bike, and here on the screen you can see its fuel consumption and also its range. Another thing I liked was how the gears shift. Honestly, if it weren't for the gear indicator, I wouldn't even have noticed I had changed gears. That's how smooth it is. The gears engage very smoothly with no difficulty at all. Another positive point is that it has a slipper clutch, and we don't usually see this technology on small bikes. So what does that mean? That when you downshift abruptly, the rear wheel won't lock up. Another thing that surprised me was the ergonomics. Honestly, I'm 1.77 meters tall, and for me, the bike fit really well. The tank is really wide, and my legs fit here perfectly. I thought the position of the foot pegs was good. I didn't find the bend of my leg uncomfortable at all. The handlebar here, actually the clip-on handlebar, is perfect. The handling is also a positive point of this motorcycle. It's light, agile, and you can ride through traffic lanes with ease. I didn't have any difficulties, except for the rear view mirror, of course. But still, it's a great motorcycle for beginners and for everyday riding, for sure. Another positive point is the dashboard. It provides a lot of information. I found it very bright and nice looking. It even reminds me of the Monster 797s, and of course, it has a shift light. So for sure, that's a big plus. And the last positive point is the price. It's available in 2 colors. With a suggested price starting at our Brazilian real 12,790. And those were my thoughts.
Regarding the Apache 200 Racing Throttle Response, which for me is a motorcycle that you really should consider if you want a bike in this price and engine range. And I received a lot of questions about after-sales service, the dealership network. All these questions here were sent to me on Instagram. By the way, if you don't follow me yet, go there, Amanda Pagliari. I always do polls about the next bikes I'm going to test, and your question might appear in the next video. I got in touch with DAFRA asking what happened since they recently closed some dealerships, how they see the future of the network, and they answered me. I'll read it here for you. Due to the market changes that have occurred in recent years, mainly related to the difficulty of getting credit approval for entry-level products and changes in the legislation for mopeds, DAFRA had to redirect its commercial and product lineup strategies. Therefore, there was a closure of dealerships where there was a strong dependence on these products. However, in most of these cities, DAFRA appointed technical assistance centers that, in addition to having the technical training to provide services, have access to purchase parts directly from the factory, ensuring that customers are not left without support. According to the manufacturer, they currently have 53 dealerships and more than 100 technical assistance centers spread throughout the country. We know that after-sales service is DAFRA's Achilles heel. And if they fix that, they will definitely sell more motorcycles. The Apache has everything it takes to be as successful as, for example, the Citycom was in the past. I don't think DAFRA has what it takes to go head-to-head with Honda and Yamaha. But for sure, if they improve their after-sales service, there will be a lot of Apaches on the streets. And it's great for us to have an increasingly diverse market. And if you think the Apache is a great motorcycle for everything, write the hashtag Apache2000 now. You can include it with your comment. I want to see who supports this bike. Comment, okay? I'll check the comments later to see if people are liking the Apache. If you like the video, leave a like. By the way, guys, go ahead and leave a like. Share it, because the number of people asking me to test this motorcycle is unbelievable. So if you are one of those people who asked me to test the Apache, share this video. I'm counting on your help. See you next time. Moto Kiss.